Howdy folks, Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. It is time for a massive gaming vlog. Let's roll. So, a lot of stuff to cover here. It has been a whirlwind of the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to try and get you guys all caught up here on everything gaming related in my life and what's going on with our Kickstarter for our game Top Secret New World Order, our campaigns that we run here at my house, the Steam sale, and so forth. So for this episode, I'd like to start out with the, let's talk a little bit about the Pathfinder campaign that I am in. I did not get to play yesterday because we are in the middle of our Kickstarter for our game, and we had meetings yesterday, so I wasn't able to do that. But I did want to ask you guys, pose something to you guys, because the DM for our Pathfinder campaign is also one of the players in my campaign when we meet on Friday nights. And knowing that I wasn't going to be there yesterday, he had to ask me a question. So I will get you guys caught up real quick. So in our campaign there, I play a rogue, and he had met his demise a couple sessions earlier through a set of challenges, and he failed the Constitution challenge, and he had to be resurrected. So he was resurrected and everything, and we've been going after the next stone in our campaign, and you can look back on the other gaming vlogs and get caught up on the bigger scope of this. But the bottom line is we're looking for some artifacts, and it led us to this cavern. And in this cavern, you have absolutely perfectly still water with an island at the other end of the cavern, so you have to cross the water to get there. So you have to figure out some way to get there. And after a bunch of hemming and hawing, and now, mind you, my rogue, the way he died was basically he drowned in that Constitution challenge. So swimming is at this point is out of the frickin' question for Mr. Radar, which is my character's name. So we figured out a way to get it. Somebody made a boat, or I think we crafted a boat. We found some wood, and the bottom line is we get across to the island. We get over to the island. There's this big, beautiful tree. The way the DM describes it is the most beautiful grass you've ever seen, perfectly green, so forth and so on. And on this tree, there is this fruit growing, and somebody in the party decides to try the fruit or whatever, and they instantly fall asleep. Down onto the grass they go, peacefully sleeping. Somebody else does it, etc., etc. It left the fighter and myself are the only two that have not tried it and have, of course, not fallen asleep yet. I did a little bit more investigating, and my character did, and dug up some of the grass, and I found a skeleton, skeletal remains under the grass. So now my question to you guys is, with all that information that our DM, Kevin, asked me on Friday, hey, so I know you're not going to be there tomorrow. Is your character going to eventually taste this, try this fruit? And my answer, of course, is, given that information, why would he do that? You know, everybody else is falling fast asleep. We can't wake them up. They're on the grass, and then I find skeletal remains under the grass. My answer to him was basically, if Nadia, the fighter, who she and I have become fairly, I guess we're close isn't really the word, but we have a certain camaraderie, our two characters, and we've learned to trust one another, and she's very untrusting, and so she finally trusts me and so forth. And so I basically said, well, if Nadia ends up trying it, then I guess my character would. And of course, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But I was just curious, given that scenario, how many of you playing characters, how many of you, and of course each character personality is different and everything, but given that information, what is the likelihood that your character, regardless of who it is, would end up trying that fruit that's making everybody else fall asleep, and then we know we find skeletons under the grass? I mean, my logic and common sense kicks in and says, wait a second, people are falling asleep on the grass and dying. They're just not waking up, and they're dying and becoming part of the earth. I mean, that's what the way my brain works. So anyway, so I have no idea what happened yesterday. I wasn't at the session. In 2 weeks, I'm going to try and make sure to make it. We'll have it here again, and we'll go from there. So that's the Pathfinder campaign. On the Greyhawk campaign, my campaign that I'm DMing, if you remember, there is this ongoing feud between the bard Pete and Hingle, our, I'm going to say, he's basically chaotic evil at this point. He says he's chaotic neutral, but he's more chaotic evil. And he's been tormenting Pete, because in fairness, Pete was an ass. The first time that there was an interaction, he was a egotistical, pompous ass bard up there playing, and he pissed off the wrong guy. And so our Hingle has been tormenting him from town to town and so forth. And it's actually brought a source of amusement to the party, but also they've managed to do things to where they're gaining XP from it and gold and so forth. So the latest is that they followed him to a new town, and he had kind of gotten back on his feet. He had he's in some new clothes, he's got a new loot, so forth and so on. And they have the knowledge, our party knows that he had a stash of money somewhere, gold somewhere, that he was saving that up to try and get into the Bard's College in the city of Greyhawk. Now all of a sudden he's in new threads, he's got a new loot, he's in a new tavern, the tavern keeper likes him because he's bringing in a lot of people because he is a pretty good bard and so forth. But to cut to the chase, the NPC magic user, who I am playing the NPC right now, Desdemona, because we don't have anybody to play a magic user, and Hingle had cooked up some way of basically, they'd already chased Pete out they've been giving him notes in numbers, like a countdown type of a thing, and they're down to number 5, and they always put, like the number and then something, just a couple words to go with it, like 6 feet under, and then now it's 5 alive, because Pete had thought that old Hingle had been found dead, now he's in a new city, he's got new threads, he's probably thinking, oh great, I'm free to go now, this guy's not going to be chasing me anymore, he's dead. But the note he gets in the tavern right after he's playing says 5 alive in blood, and he starts freaking out because here he was thinking he was in the clear, and he gets another note, and he just basically books it out of there. And so our Hingle, who is an assassin illusionist, decides to do a little bit of trickery in the tavern and create the illusion of a fire, and then basically blame it on Pete, saying that, hey, this weird stuff started happening. Aren't you saying it's happened about the same time this bard showed up, And we did the rolls and everything, and the tavern keep was kind of like, yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe he has got something to do with it. And then they convince him that the tavern is actually haunted, and it's possessed by something that the bard did, and that it's going to require them, Hingle, and the magic user, to banish this thing from the tavern, and of course he's going to have to pay to get this done, and so they create he creates an illusion, Hingle creates an illusion of a poop demon, let's just say that, and he incorporates Pete's face into the demon and everything, so it looks like it is some kind of fecal, Pete demon creature that is tormenting, and then of course he banishes it by, stopping the spell, and make some platinum off of it and everything. So that's where we're at in this campaign, and the party is still deciding. They'd been in the Temple of Elemental Evil for a few times, several times, and they keep coming back out to recuperate. And it sounds like they're getting ready to go back in again, try again to the temple. But in the meantime, in their travels, they keep having these random encounters. And the latest one was that they got attacked by an owl bear, and they did the smart thing and they searched for its lair, and they found a lair, and I rolled for it and everything, everything's above board and all that, and there is a percentage chance that you find either owlbear eggs or babies, like young, in the cave, and I rolled for that, and they did in fact find some, and they turn out to be quite valuable. So they had to do another detour to go back to sell these creatures for the gold, because they didn't want to take them into the temple, drag along 3 baby owlbears, So that's the kind of adventures that we're having in our campaign. They're doing very little dungeon delving and a lot of role playing, which is fantastic. In the city adventures, politics, subterfuge, fraud, whatever you name it, they're doing it. So that's kind of where we're at in that campaign. And they're telling me they're having a blast, and maybe some of them will comment below, what they think, but they're telling me they're having a ball. So, and we may be going back into the temple now. So keep you posted on that. Now, I do want to talk about the Kickstarter that we're running. And when I say we, I'm talking about TSR Games, that I'm the project manager for. And we're right in the middle, not even in the middle of our Kickstarter for Top Secret, New World Order. And I've talked about this before. We debuted it at GaryCon, and we had play tested it here. So I've talked about it off and on and so forth. But my purpose here is just to let you, any of you that don't know about the Kickstarter already, it is ongoing. I'll put a link below. Our initial goal was $12,000. We're over 600% funded. We're at like we're approaching $75,000 or something like that. So it's wildly, at this point, I guess we could say the Kickstarter is wildly successful. Right now we're in the process of trying to address any questions and comments people are leaving about different things, all different, add-ons and this and that, and the good news is that we have been trying to respond to everything. We had long meetings yesterday discussing all these things, and that's all been, we've done updates and so forth on the campaign for that. And another part that you might be interested in is that tomorrow, those of you that follow Maze Arcana with Satine Phoenix and Rudy Rutenberg, they're actually going to run a gameplay session live stream gameplay session of Top Secret New World Order with Jason Elliott, our president of our company. So that's happening tomorrow, and I believe it's 7 p.m. Pacific time. But I will double check that time, and I will put that link below in the description box as well, so you guys can, or at least I'll put the time and the link to the Maze Arcana, channel on Twitch, because that will be on Twitch TV. In addition to that, we're doing here live, we're doing Dungeon Crawlers Radio, who have broadcast from here before. They're a podcast show, and they're going to come here and broadcast, and then Merle Rasmussen, the designer of the game, the writer of the game, and Jason are going to try and call in, so that it'll be me and Jason and Merle will be interviewed by them here, and that'll be next Thursday for the regular Dungeon Crawlers Radio. And again, I'll put the link for Dungeon Crawlers down below. But it's their regular show on Thursday nights. So a lot of stuff happening with that, with the Kickstarter. And I will, as I do our regular vlogs here, gaming vlogs, I'll keep you guys updated and everything. But we're over the moon with how the reception has been for the game and so forth. And we hope you guys get to see the gameplay footage and so forth. So that's enough on that. Last thing I want to talk about is the Steam sale. I'm assuming most of you probably are doing something with the Steam sale, whether it's picking up a few games, if you're doing the trading card thing to get stuff, to level up on Steam. If you're doing a little bit of that, they got this sticker book thing that they're doing, which is kind of a neat little kitschy thing. So all that's going on during the sale, and I'm curious to know if you have time and you want to put them down, any games that you picked up on the sale that you just couldn't, it was just too good of a deal to pass up. But the ones I got were, sorry about that, got to wet the whistle there. So I picked up the rest of the Telltale games. The Walking Dead, Batman. I already had most of the Walking Dead. I just didn't have the latest game that they've done. I think it's called New Frontier. So I basically finished off my Telltale collection with the ones I didn't already have because they were, of course, drastically marked down. So because I love the Telltale adventure games, love them, fantastic. Dishonored 2 was cheap. I mean, it hadn't even been out that long. I think it was $20. So I got Dishonored 2, and then I got another old adventure game called Day of the Tentacle. The remastered version. That's an old LucasArts game. I love the point-and-click adventure games, and this is one of the classics from way back in the day. But it's been remastered, and that was like dirt cheap, so I got that too. I got a bunch of other little games and things like that were on my wish list that, point-and-click adventure stuff for like $1.49 or something. Like I got a few of those too, but the big ones were the Telltale stuff and Dishonored 2. And I'll go probably, before the sale's over, I'll probably go through and pick up another couple of bigger titles. I just haven't figured out what I want to get yet. But that's it. That is the gaming vlog. You're up to date on Pathfinder, Greyhawk, Top Secret, Steam sale, and all that. I hope you guys are enjoying your gaming worlds that you're... one other thing. I am dabbling again with World of Warcraft. I go in and out, and I'm back in for a little bit and trying to finally get to max level because I know they're going to be starting to work on the next expansion. I don't want to be behind, so I'm doing that too. So in addition to everything else, I'm trying to do a little bit of WoW stuff. So anyway, that's it, guys. And until next time, we will catch you on the flip side.